Hello everybody, PK21 Crust back with the Magic Rod guide today. So, the worst thing about this weapon has to be its name. It's called the Magic Rod, but it's a rod that shoots fire and it's fire type. Yet the level 1 version of the Magic Rod is named the Fire Rod, yet the level 3 version of the Magic Rod is the Magical Rod, because that doesn't sound stupid at all. So, once you get your 5-star 8-slot magical Magic Rod, the skills you're going to want to put on that terribly named thing are Strength 2, 3, and 5 are definite. And then for the last skill, you're going to want either Strength 4 or Strong Attack. I'd go with Strength 4, but if you find yourself using Strong Attack more, then go with that. And then versus Dragon or Undead, I'd recommend Undead on this one specifically, but Dragon's always really good. And then for the last 3 skills, it's kind of confusing because there's 2 different kinds of sets you can use. So for the first set is like the basic set, which would just be no healing, hasty attacks, and finishing blow plus, which is what this weapon is going to be once I get legendary and all that other wonderful stuff off. And then the other set you can use is defenseless, heart strong, and then for the last skill, it's a choice between hasty attacks and finishing blow plus, because this is one of the 3 projectile weapons in the game, so zoning is a big thing of it. So if you don't really want to get hit often, but it doesn't, the projectiles do decent damage, but if you really want to maximize that damage, Heartstrong is going to be really helpful, so to maximize projectile damage. And since it's kind of a zoner weapon, it doesn't really need to be fast, but of course it's really helpful. But it also has a really good finishing blow, so that's why it's kind of like you can do one or the other. I'd still say hasty attacks because it's hasty attacks. But, okay, let's just play. So yeah, it's one of the 3 projectile weapons in the game. The other 2 are Linkle's crossbows and Wizaro. And then there's also kind of Medley and Marin, but their projectiles are more like 1 projectile at a time that doesn't actually go that far in front of them and doesn't actually deal any significant damage, so I don't really count them. Anyways, onto this weapon. So this is one of the few weapons where my C-stick is broken. Wait, let me fix this. So this is one of the few weapons where the weak string is actually a vital part of the set. So if I can just get away. So that's the full weak string, and now that they're gone, these things do actually quite a bit of damage, and they also have really nice range. So this is a very important part of the set since it is a projectile zoning weapon. Staying back and just kind of shooting a bunch of weak strings is kind of an effective strategy with this, actually. Of course, you want to kind of use other combos sometimes, but just this alone is actually pretty good. Also, it's good for finishing off combos or extending combos, since most of the time you're going to want to keep enemies away from you to combo them, and that can actually happen with this weapon, which is interesting because usually you want to get enemies closer to you to combo them, but no, this one you want to keep them away to combo. So it's very effective at that. Anyways, on to combo 2, not strength 2. So, it didn't slow down there. Those first 2 hits, that's for weak points. Do that and their weak points gone. Now for actual comboing, if you do the full thing, that last hit launches them away, and then you can just shoot a single weak hit at them, and that'll well, at least on this level, because they're really weak enemies. I tested this, and they all died from that. On later levels where enemies don't die from a single hit of that, then it will still deal significant damage, and that's the absurd weak finishing blow that's like, just no. So, just this, and then just the weak string. That's an actual combo, and again, it works really well for some reason. Okay, enough saying the same thing like 3 times in a row. That's the wrong combo. Combo 3. Best attack on this thing. If you want to spam that attack, go ahead, because it's a quick attack. Honestly, when you're starting off with this, that's probably the one attack you will use the most, that or the weak string, because This thing is dumb. That's what you want to use in almost every situation because it is just a really good attack. And I keep doing so yeah, that clears out crowds around you. It does nice damage in 1v1. And also with this combo, which launches enemies away, you can do this if you can kind of get them close enough because it does launch them away. But if you can, then that's just a ton of damage right there because that thing is really strong. Now, combo 4. This is a kind of move. There's not really that much use for it. It's mostly just for keep clearing, and if there are multiple captains, then you can kind of use it to trap them. But it's not generally that useful. There's not much to do with it. Combo 5. The thing you want to use that for is giant bosses, because otherwise, this is with hasty attacks, and still that attack is pretty slow. So it does nice damage, but you're gonna have to actually somehow get in on enemy that's not gonna hit you while you're using that attack, which can be pretty difficult. So you really should use that in 1v1 a lot. You can use it a bit more if you have hasty attacks, but you really shouldn't use that much. But that goes through giant boss weak point gauges quick, so that's a great attack. And the last thing I have not gone over yet is the strong attack, which just shoots out a little polar fire, and as you see, that does absolutely no damage, which is not that great. And if you hold it down, you can charge it up and shoot a blast of fire, which actually does kill stuff, and it has no range, and you have to wait a while, and it's really just not worth it for anything. There's not much of use for that at all. And also, just like partially charging it does not make that attack, the fire pillar does not make that attack stronger. It just lets you aim it, or like change your mind if you want to like do a fire blast, and then you're like, nah, never mind. But there's not much. Just don't use it. And the special attack, it's a really good special attack. It goes really far. Well, like right there. See. Goes really far. It has some nice damage, and since this weapon is pretty great at crowds, it does build up that meter fairly quickly, so that is not a problem at all. So now on to the giant bosses. Well, we see Link. This attack is lame though. That's no. That attack's just sad. Anyways, giant bosses. So the magic rod actually doesn't do that great against giant bosses in general. It doesn't matter if you have hasty attacks or not, but so you can do that, which is just start off with combo 6 as the giant boss is falling down, and then just do the first 2 hits of combo 3. After that, that tactic works on Dodongo and Manhandle Up. Argrok and Goma, you can do the same thing, but you're going to have to throw in a special. Hasty attacks or not, it doesn't matter. You can do Dodongo, Manhandle Up with and without hasty attacks, and you can't do Goma or Argrok without it. And of course not Ganon or Imprison, because they're Ganon and Imprisoned, and you should never do them Imprisoned, Ganon, dumb, whatever. Okay. There's not really much else to get that guide, that's it. So yeah, 2 pretty short guides this week, because there's not really much difficulty with these weapons. They're just like 2 kind of basic fire weapons that kind of have basic attacks. There's not really that much interesting tech or anything about them. Kind of basic weapons. Except the Naginata is like confusing, but that's like a weird thing of it like being bad, but not like really bad. But that's, I don't know. Magic Rod, I think everyone like kind of appreciates, mostly because it's probably the first level 3 weapon most people got, or at least one of the first ones, because you get it so early. And that's probably why a lot of people used this weapon. And yeah, it's a kind of good weapon. Its only real competition is Linkle, because they're both projectile weapons that are also both fire. And Depending on the situation, this could do better, or maybe Linkle's crossbows. Hers are more better for crowd control, but this can do some pretty cool things though. Like, that finishing blow is just dumb. And the special attack, those are like undoubtedly better. Anyways, that's actually it for this guide, so bye.